Sydney McLaughlin Levrone has been on fire as of late. The two-time Olympic gold medalist recently broke one of the most impressive hurdle records ever, and it seems like there's no stop to her monstrous rise. Sydney recently talked about some of her recent triumphs and her future plans on completely dominating fields, and today we'll be taking a look at that and more. So without any further ado, let's dive in. First up, what record did Sydney break? Sydney McLaughlin is no stranger to breaking world records, sometimes her own. But before we talk about her latest records, let's take a look at some of the ones she broke not too long ago. Back in 2018, she broke the NCAA record for the fastest 400-meter hurdle, completing the course in just 52.75 seconds. The previous record stood for over 29 years before it was smashed by an 18-year-old Sydney McLaughlin. That was also a world record for the fastest 400-meter hurdle ever by a female athlete under 20. A few years later, at the Tokyo Olympics, Sydney took on the world stage and competed in the 400-meter women's relay and hurdles event for the first time. There, she completed the 4x400-meter relay in 3 minutes and 16 seconds, a personal best. As for the 400-meter women's hurdle event, she completed the entire course in just 51.46 seconds, setting a new world record and winning the gold medal. The record was one that was considered almost impossible to beat, but one way or another, Sydney was able to conquer it. She later beat that record at the 2022 USATF 400-meter hurdles event by completing in just 51.41 seconds. But could she beat this record again? Well, she did just that in October 2022, when at the World Athletics Championships, she set another 400-meter hurdles world record by completing the course in 50.68 seconds. It was one of the greatest performances anyone had ever seen in a hurdles event, and it only begged the question of how much this athlete was going to improve further. Up next, Sydney talks about her future plans. Sydney McLaughlin is now 23 years old. She still has plenty of time to improve as a sprinter and a hurdler, and continues to break even more impressive records. Even though the 23-year-old has already set one of the most impossible records anyone could have thought of, she has much bigger plans for her future. Her next challenge is pretty obvious. McLaughlin was the first woman to ever break the 51-second barrier, doing so at the World Championships nonetheless. However, 51 seconds is a rather vague barrier. Her true goal is to completely crush the 50-second barrier. No female athlete has done that at the 400-meter hurdle competition before, but if there's someone who can do it, it's definitely the current record holder. Sydney says that one of the things that motivate her the most are records that people say are impossible to break. She likes to prove them wrong and loves a challenge. It's one of the driving forces behind her monumental rise to stardom. Sprinting legend Edwin Moses believes that there's probably no stopping Sydney McLaughlin from accomplishing anything she wants. He said that the only thing that can stop her is a mistake or two, but as far as her abilities are concerned, it would be hard to find any athlete in the world that could match her. Coming up, is Sydney going to compete in more kinds of races? So far, we've seen Sydney compete in 400-meter and 400-meter hurdle events. She sticks to those two competitions because she's genuinely the best at them, but could we potentially see her compete in other kinds of competitions as well? The two-time Olympic champion recently talked about expanding her horizons as well. She's apparently in talks with her coach about what other competitions she should enter next. However, she doesn't really expect to enter a new competition right away. She said that she was amazing with 400-meter hurdles this year, but there's still so much to be done. She wants to focus on possibly breaking every single 400-meter record out there before she can start focusing on other competitions. But there honestly isn't much left for McLaughlin to do. She has 6 of the 7 fastest times ever recorded in a women's 400-meter hurdle competition. How much more can she even achieve? McLaughlin doesn't just want to compete in hurdles though. She also wants to break records at the flat 400-meter competition. The current record for the fastest 400-meter flat race was set by Marita Koch in 1985. She completed the track in 47.60 seconds. McLaughlin is confident that with enough training, she should be able to beat that record one day. Who knows? It might just be at the Olympics. Next, what are Sydney's chances of breaking Marita's record? McLaughlin has always been better at hurdle events than in flat flat races. However, she already has an Olympic gold medal in the flat 400-meter event, and even though that gold medal may not have broken any records, it goes to show that she still has what it takes to beat Marita's ultimate record. Sydney herself admitted that Marita's world record baffles her. She said that the record has truly stood the test of time, and even though every female and male sprinter since then has tried to beat the record, none of them succeeded. But if there's one thing we know about McLaughlin, it's that she was born to break records. She has the ability to fixate on specific goals and achieve them whenever she wants. She has the physical ability, the mindset, the resources, and pretty much everything else it could possibly take. She said that she's been daydreaming about breaking more and more records. It's almost her entire purpose in life, to be the best. Funnily enough, if that was her purpose, she's probably already achieved it. She is a once-in-a-lifetime athlete that continues to get better with every race, and she's only 23. What's the next event Sydney will compete in? Now that she has broken her own record at the World Championships, Sydney McLaughlin has taken a small break from racing. Of course, during this time, she'll continue to train for upcoming events. But what exactly is the next event she'll compete in? Well, she hasn't exactly confirmed that for now, but if we go by her recent appearances, you can get an idea of the events she's likely to sign up for. We probably won't see another McLaughlin race until the spring or summer of 2023. That's when the next USATF Championships will take place. In the previous USATF Championships, Sydney won the gold medal at the 400-meter hurdles event by completing in 51.41 seconds, breaking her own world record. Following that, she will likely compete in the World Championships again. Once again, at the previous World Championships, Sydney broke her own world record by finishing in under 51 seconds. For 3 events in a row, or 4 if you count the Olympic trials, McLaughlin broke her own world record, and it's going to be exciting to see if she breaks it again next year. For the remainder of 2022 though, Sydney is likely not going to compete in any other race. After those 2 events though, Sydney is likely going to compete at the 2024 Olympic trials, and once she definitely wins, she will move on to compete at the Los Angeles Olympics. She will definitely be the most anticipated athlete at the event, and she could potentially compete in other competitions at the event as well. This is a very exciting time for athletics, and it's mostly thanks to McLaughlin. Next, Sydney McLaughlin gets married. In case you missed it, we referred to Sydney as Sydney McLaughlin Levrone at the start of this video. That's because the 23-year-old gold medalist has officially tied the knot with former NFL star Andre Levrone Jr. The two had been dating for quite some time now, and the timing of the wedding took a lot of fans by surprise. The private ceremony took place at the Early Mountain Vineyards in Virginia, and the couple showed off their wedding photos on their Instagram accounts. Can you imagine Sydney and Andre's kids? Not only will they be incredibly good looking, but they'll also have the combined athletic genetics of 2 world-class athletes. Let's be honest, if there was ever going to be someone that breaks Sydney's records, it was her own offspring. And finally, McLaughlin is in the race to be named Athlete of the Year. There's probably no athlete right now that had a better year in 2022 than Sydney McLaughlin. Because of this, she was narrowed down among 9 other male and female athletes as the World Athlete of the Year, an award presented every year by World Athletics. McLaughlin faces a lot of competition for the award, which will be voted for by fans. She is the only American woman on the shortlist, one of only 2 Americans overall. Thanks to her social media popularity, McLaughlin is considered the favorite to win the award this year, and if she does, it would definitely be well deserved. That's a wrap for this video. How do you think Sydney will perform at the 2024 Olympics? Let us know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.